What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Replayer Podcast. This week we are joined with, of course, my lovely co-host Pagan.
Hello.
And the cast of the Green Knight RPG series, Wayne and Erica, minus Drew.
Yeah, minus Drew.
Minus
Drew is busy. Drew is busy doing Drew stuff.
Eldor farts.
Yeah, he's out slaying dragons
Eldor,
and shit. You know,
enchanting.
you know the way it is.
Well, he always said it. He just went right up to it. Eldor, the enchanting.
Yeah,
It
I
was
know.
so
It's
fantastic.
great.
That's how he did it. That's how he
It's
did it.
literally like the Mufasa. Like
Yeah,
it's
Mufasa.
so accurate. Yeah, for sure.
It's a good thing to stick to a character trope like that. Like, he always walks into a room like, Eldor, the enchanting.
Yeah, it's good.
He
Like, yeah, it's
He
great.
claimed he was never role playing. He was just playing himself. So it made me wonder: does he walk in rooms going, Drew? That's how he
Just
introduced himself.
Drew.
That wouldn't
the
surprise me.
soupiest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the soupiest Drew. Possibly.
Mm.
Just in his own now. It just isn't his own now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Pagan can't speak today. Just in his own house.
There we go.
Sorry. Just
Do
in
you
his
need to be
own
somebody
house.
else?
Bye.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
But
we
no,
are here.
Thanks for
today.
having us on.
Yes.
Yeah. Cheers for having us on.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We're looking forward to having a specific episode about this limited run series of the Green Knight on the Retro Replay channel, which we'll get into that later.
Which is now not retro.
It's not Retro Replay. Anyways, it's a Retro Replay
whoa.
presents series
It
of the
is.
Green Knight tabletop RPG, run and game mastered by Wayne here, and featuring Erica and Pagan, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, us too.
So, you got
Are we
a
in
couple of questions.
Pretty sure we are.
Okay, great.
Unless you-
Questions.
Unless you have fully adopted your persona of Daywin the Owl now, that you're just an owl in the corner now.
Hoot hoot.
That's why we have just a frozen picture of Erica on the screen.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
It's
I
actually
should have
just an
changed it to an
owl.
owl.
You should
Yeah.
Oh, missed
Hold on.
opportunity.
Yeah.
I think
Do
I
it in
can still
post.
do
Do it
it.
in post. Do it in post.
She's
Yeah.
getting
Yeah,
on it.
we'll do it in post.
Well,
I'll
while
send you
you're
a picture
doing
of an
that,
owl.
Yeah.
we have a couple of things to discuss on that, especially because the main thing to get into about the Green Knight series is it's a community-driven project. And by community, I mean
Yeah.
you, Wayne. So
I have my own community.
I wanted
Yes.
to discuss that. Me and Pagan were thinking about this. Like, let's talk about this. Let's explain and discuss how this came to be.
Sure.
And that's where I want to start. Really, is what gave you the idea to want to try to do a Green Knight series for Retro Replay?
So I'm a huge history movie nerd, and I was excited about this movie coming out as Drew was,
Mhm.
because we discussed it, with each other on Twitter as well. And then Pagan asked me to come on to Trailer Talk one afternoon for the Green Knight trailer, and I had bought a bit of promo material of the Green Knight leading up to it. A few of the things that the A24 website was selling, and one of them was this roleplay game, because I'm a huge roleplay nerd. So I have like a plethora of different roleplay games on my shelf, and anything that's like a roleplay game and a tie into a movie that I'm looking forward to, of course I'm going to buy it.
Mm.
So I did.
Oh, yeah.
And then I came on to Trailer Talk, and myself and Drew nerded out about the film and the story and the poem, and then everyone else like PJ and Nolan, and they were like, yeah, whatever. So I knew
Sure.
me and Drew kind of have similar tastes in a lot of different things. Star Trek, all that type of thing. That's
Mhm.
kind of our jam. So I knew that we were kind of like-minded on this particular topic.
Mm.
So I just tweeted at him one day.
Having flashbacks
said-
of our Last of Us discussion that we had now.
I know, right?
It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
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 So I tweeted at him one day, like a picture of the box of the roleplay game.
Mm.
And I was
Mhm.
like, what do you think about doing this? That's all it was. It's literally a tweet. And I think he kind of just retweeted it, and then he sent me a DM, and then we sent back a couple of emails, and then we had a pitch meeting, and we just put it together. And it was like, yeah, let's do it. And initially it was just, I just sent it to him. It was like, let's just have a game of this. There was no kind of, I want to produce this show and put it up on the internet.
Mhm.
All it was like, let's like over the magic of Zoom or whatever, let's just have a role play game, because that's what I think everyone and their aunt has been doing that during the pandemic, is like,
Oh yeah.
keep yourself entertained. Dungeons and Dragons popularity has gone through the fucking roof because people are sitting like this
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and playing D&D digitally. So why not just, invite Drew to a game of me hosting a game and whoever wanted to play of doing the Green Knight RPG? But it snowballed. And he gave me the opportunity with Pagan, to produce it and put it together and put it up on the Retro Replay kind of YouTube channel, which I was grateful for. And like, I have experience doing these type of things. Like, I host an RPG podcast / YouTube channel already. The Irish Pubcast plays Dungeons and Dragons, and we've been doing that for 2 years. So I'm well versed in how to do like role play games like this. So I had that kind of background. So Drew happily was like, look, let's use our platform and let's put it out there. There's an audience for this type of stuff. So let's do it, and he gave me the opportunity to do that, and which I was very thankful for. So that's kind of how it came about. Just literally from me sending a tweet.
Yeah.
From
A tweet.
Yeah. And well, obviously in fairness, it's Pagan's fault, really.
Pagan,
we were chatting about something, and then I saw it at the trailer. I can't remember the exact thing, and I'm not going to go back through my messages now.
I think it was like you saw that we were doing trailer talk on the Green Knight. Like, it was good. Like, the premiere, it's like premiering at like 4 hours or whatever like that. And you were like, oh my God, like the Green Knight. Like, I fucking love that. And I was like, dude, come on the show.
No, I know what, I'm not gonna let this slide. It was actually Tina.
Oh,
It was Tina's
Tina.
It was Tina's fault. Yes, because if I don't fucking give her credit, she'll kill me. But it was Tina. No, it was Tina, because Tina just said, dude, in Tina's way, fucking get on this shit. So in fairness to Tina, she kind of was like, you should be doing this, get on. And Pagan then was like, yeah, come on, if you can talk about this and you know the topic, come on. And of course, I'm a massive nerd. So yes, I was happy to talk about history and Arthurian legends and RPGs and stuff. So,
I learned so much from that. That was an awesome episode.
It was a really good episode.
Yeah.
The trailer talk. Yeah. And like Drew's so passionate about it. I feel like everybody else gives him a hard time because he'll go on this like tangent, this massive tangent. Yeah. Because he's too passionate. Like, PJ always gives him shit for it. It was really fascinating though. It was like a little history lesson. It was great.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and that in itself is something like that.
Those exchanges with Drew are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you got to give it props for, like, it was a trailer show talking about a trailer of a movie that we actually have a release date for Ireland now. It's 24th of September.
Yeah. It's like a whole month and a half later than everybody else.
Yeah. But it's the case of, I think it was props to Drew. I'm guessing it was Drew who kind of pitched that trailer for that episode.
Probably.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Knowing True.
Yeah.
Actually, so, I mean, we had pitched it before. I think there was other trailers. I think maybe the week before or something like that, and then we did this. Potentially, it could have been something like that, but it was definitely Drew. It was Drew's pitch.
Yeah, that's kind of how it came about. Anyway, that's how the whole thing. Long story long. That's how the
long story
long.
Well, I just recently saw like the trailer for that new The King's Men. And as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, oh my God, I tweeted at Drew. I was like, this seems like a good candidate for another trailer talk. And he actually, I think it was the following week, said that's what he wanted to do, but there was scheduling conflicts with the crew and they weren't able to do a new trailer talk for that episode.
That was this week, actually, gone by, wasn't it?
Oh, right. Yeah, it would have been this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had an open conversation through the social media. They're talking about the history of the Kingsman movies and like our hopes for the new movie. And we kind of had our own little side dialogue about it. So it's fun.
It's unfortunate.
Drew to nerd out.
We just had like scheduling conflicts. So that, like, I definitely wasn't available. It was my dad's birthday on Tuesday. And then I think there were scheduling conflicts with a few of the crew as well, where they were on set or producing, or Paul was doing work as well. So we were like, there's just too few of us. Like, there's probably only going to be 1 or 2 people available. So we're like, let's just move it to next week. So So unfortunately we didn't get to do it, but it is kind of nice that, like, in the community of that is currently Retro Replays community, that will, like, obviously convert over to Couch Soup, right? We'll get into that later on the show. But in that place, like, we can still have that discourse, and all of us as the members, as the crew, Drew is actively engaging there and is like, hey, we didn't get to do this, but let's all talk about it here. Like, what did you guys think? What's your opinion? I kind of love that. I think that's really nice. That's awesome. And I don't think there's a lot of other places on YouTube or communities that will do that will actually engage with community producers, show producers or content creators. with their community in something that they were going to shoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It speaks to what social media is actually meant to be used for.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
sure.
Right.
You know, the social aspect
reason.
of social media.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of what it was originally meant to be. It's like people having conversations when, you know, in situations where you couldn't usually have conversations. But it also, from my own experience, I've seen it. And again, this speaks to it. It crosses these borders and oceans. Because, I mean, I'm sitting in Dublin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I tweeted a producer in LA and it was like, yeah, let's do this. And we recorded an episode a week on a Monday night. The four of us, like, we brought on Erica and the four of us got together every Monday night for 4 weeks in a row. We recorded the episode. Stephanie, with her expert eye and ear,
Oh yeah.
edited it to within an inch of its life and did a phenomenal job.
Unreal.
Like I've been editing and putting together audio visual stuff for years. And when you're doing it for that long, you can tend to get lost in your own kind of ideas.
Mhm.
But giving something that you've created off to somebody who's able to do that to the level that Stephanie does it is just so freeing.
Yeah.
Like the edits will come in and we get the notification of here's the video, give us your notes. We give the notes and the edits will be like minute to enough edits, but done so well that it just flows.
Mhm.
I challenge anyone to look at those episodes and try and find where the joins are.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, it's you know, it's difficult. It's difficult to find it without an untrained eye.
Yeah. So
The music,
there's,
everything.
Oh, the music.
she did great with the music, working that in.
So
And
good.
I was going to say there's probably maybe I could probably not even count on, like, I can't even count a full hand of how many times I noticed like a cut in the edit.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I feel like that was a moment where I'm sure in recording the show, there was probably, you know, bits of lulls or conversation that ultimately, you know, got
No,
chopped
it
or
was
something.
just
my
me.
power going out.
It was just me
Yeah.
going off on tangents and
Mm.
you know, Drew farting really loudly and
Yeah.
babies crying and stuff. It wasn't like, I mean, the thing I'll say about this. So when I came in with the idea and we were putting it together, and we knew who we wanted and we knew who we wanted involved.
Mm.
We bandied
Aw.
about a couple of people, but we kind of like Pagan was like, no, Erica is really good. Let's get her to do this.
I'm
I was
gonna
like, yeah,
cry.
okay.
Yeah, when
I'm glad I'm not on camera.
And then we had our first kind of like chat on a call and had our session 0. So in role play games, anyone that, you know, knows how to do them or knows how to play them, you always have to have a session 0 to batter out what your characters are going to be, to set the table rules, because tables have to be, I don't like using the phrase safe spaces, but they have to be places where people are comfortable to be able to play the game and explore their characters without any worries, right? And it's my job as the GM to kind of ease any worries that they have and answer any questions that they have. So it's always really important to have a session 0. We had our session 0, everyone just immediately clicked and it was like, right, let's do this.
Yes.
And it put everyone at ease. So when we hit the first session, the first encounter, everyone just hit the ground running and it was brilliant.
Mm.
And there was no worries. As a GM, I had 0 worries about anyone involved. Like there was nothing. Everyone knew what they were doing. They knew what they wanted to do with the characters. We'd had correspondence back and forth with emails. I think Eric had mentioned it on the podcast that you were on, Erica. Like, you know, I sent Wayne an email. This is what I wanted to do. Yada yada. And it spoke to just the quality of the individuals involved and what they wanted to bring to the table. And obviously the final product speaks for itself. It's, you know, it was so much fun.
Yeah. It's been great.
Wayne, I'd like for you to write me like a recommendation letter for like anywhere I go.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Wayne is a fantastic GM though. Like, oh my God, everything came down to you, and without you, it wouldn't have even have been a thing. But I don't think it would have been as successful of a thing without you being a GM, because your storytelling skills are just bar none. Like it's incredible. And it was like an honor to work with you, I guess, professionally in a sense here on Retro Replay, like for internet content. Whereas like we've kind of worked before, like we've played before with an RPG in a private group, in an Irish group that we have with Tina, Janine and Panda.
That's what I was going to reference before too, where I was telling Wayne I had heard about his DMing, GMing skills through you and others. Yeah,
because it's amazing. Like your ability to like actually create a scene so well that we can visualize it and be in it and like be in the moment and not have to worry about any of that. It's just fantastic. So like fucking props to you, buddy. Very
Thank you.
careful.
No, I mean, in typical Irish form, I'm going to take that compliment and
As
just
a
probably just
now.
now here now stop Richard, stop.
Yeah.
You know,
I
but,
literally
no, I
said that to
appreciate it.
somebody today. Somebody was,
Yeah.
I think it was like Janine Panda Janine Panda and Tina. They'd said something and I was like, no. And then I was like, you guys are the best. And they're like, no, you. And I was like, no, you. Like this Irish thing where we don't ever take a compliment.
Yeah, we don't. We're self-deprecating. We're all. Yeah, we can't promote ourselves. We're shit. Like it's a real Irish thing.
I feel like that's a lot of people.
It's honest to God, we have it down to a fine art. It's one thing that we're very proud of is how self-deprecating we are. So we can destroy our own egos very well, perfectly. And it is a form. It's like the Irish goodbye. The Irish down, the Irish self put down is also another thing that we can claim ownership to.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, big time. But no, I appreciate that. But the thing about it is, and any DM that's willing to accept that and acknowledge this, yes, the DM does a fair bit of work, but if it isn't for the good players that the DM has, it's not worth shit. Because a DM could be the best fucking DM in the world, but if the players aren't on the same level or at par with that and able to wax lyrical and improv and do everything, because it is a lot of improvisation on the spot.
Yeah.
Which a lot of this was like, so the Green Knight book is like super thin. There's like the 4 encounters where you have the bare minimum and then you fill in everything else. And both Pagan and Erica and Drew filled in everything else that I didn't do. So, so Erica as Daywin and all of Daywin's quirks and trinkets kind of kleptomania and syphilis. That was all Pagan. That was all Pagan.
Gosh. Yeah. That whole syphilis running joke was probably my favorite thing.
That was so funny. I did not mean for that to be like become canon and then like a major plot point. Like what?
It turned out to be your wish.
Oh, it was so funny. Yeah. It just turned out to be so much more than it probably should have been.
It's one of those, you make a joke, not thinking about it, and then you realize it's funny. So you got to just keep twisting that knife. You just keep going with it.
Yeah. You just keep bringing it up. It's pretty funny. It was good. It was good crack. It was good crack.
I also wanted to try and give Erica a moment to talk about her involvement and how she got brought into this project. She's a little short on time, so I wanted to give you a chance, Erica, to give us a little background on how you got into this.
Let me move up a couple. I'm sitting on my stairs at the moment. I realize I'm like super echoey. There we go. That's better. I saw the post on Twitter and like seeing Drew possibly get to, play a game with Wade. I was like, oh, that'd be so cool if they could get together and play, like so down for this. And so I just commented on it. I was like, this is a great idea, like have fun type thing. And I don't know how much longer later, like a week or two, Pagan messaged me like, hey, we're thinking about doing the Great Night. You want to join? And I, in my typical nerd weepy self, I was just like, yes, I would love to. All excited because I was like, I didn't think that I would ever get the chance to like be on Retro Replay Couch Soup, like have my face there. Right. And so like I was so nervous, but also like so excited because I was like, oh my gosh, they think of me as like good enough to be able to be on the show and participate in this sort of thing. And so I was like, I got to bring my A game for like everything.
I want to caveat that by saying that like, you had experience with, tabletop RPGs before. You have a freaking podcast that is, that is RPG. So I feel like you were such a natural choice, but I just knew that you would bring all of that experience with you. And that's why like we all ultimately decided we're like, yeah, absolutely. Let's reach out to Erica and see if she'd be involved.
I'm glad my camera's not on again.
I think you definitely deserve input on this one. Well, the Let Us In.
Yep.
So people should check that out.
Definitely.
Straight away.
Yes.
Turn this shit off. Go listen to the Let Us In.
It's fantastic. How dare you, Wayne? Turn this shit off after it's finished. Then go listen to the Let Us In.
After this podcast.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Continue, Erica.
You're good. And so like, I was like, I really need to bring my A game, create somebody that everybody's going to love. And I had just finished watching Silicon Valley and Big Head was one of my favorite characters. And he just like continually was just like this stupidest dude, but he kept failing upwards. And so I messaged Ryan and I was like, this is the kind of character I want to play. And so he helped me figure out a few things. I missed something on a character sheet, got everything put together, and it just kind of slowly started to come to life. And like Drew's character, I was like, why do you have the least amount of dishonor when you're a coward and like you're failing upwards? I'm like, yes, it's coming
so great.
across. And so I had so much fun because normally in some of the games that I normally play, I'm more of like a little bit more serious at times. And so with something like this, I kind of, as soon as like the first episode started going and I got a feel for everybody's characters, I was like, okay, I can really bring on the stupidity and the comedy to this, because Trinket's character is just absolutely perfect and I'm going to piss off Eldor. That was my goal. And like going back and like watching, especially the finale, and like all the times that I made Wayne break was like my most favorite thing. So like, that's a goal of mine. I want to break the GM. I got to break the city, whatever.
I did love the moment where I started laughing and it was too close in the edit for Stephanie to grab it and the voice filter was still on.
Yeah.
So I laughed like the Green Knight.
Yeah.
It was like, so this weird echoey laughter. And it was just me laughing. It wasn't like the Green Knight going, ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's just
picked up
you.
on that.
Yeah.
It was
just
too
me.
good. So you did so well, like allowing my character to be able to be that and being able to play off of these characters. I've never played an RPG that was as easy to play with a GM as players and a story as this. Is probably my number one thing I've ever played in.
It's amazing.
Yay.
Nice.
It was awesome.
It was good. I loved
Hear
all of
these
the
good
times.
things.
I loved all the times Daywin was extremely astounded by magic that was not performed by Eldor. That's just
Yeah.
the best moments, because
That
you
came
can
out so
visibly
last
see
minute.
Drew just being like,
I do magic all the time.
like,
That was
I
so
just
like
done magic. Right?
like
Oh,
such
sure
a
you
last
did.
minute decision too, to where I was
So
like,
good.
I'm like, I'm gonna be shocked right here, and I did it. And I was like, well, then I gotta keep doing this.
You're like,
And
wow, magic is real. And he's like, what the fuck, guys?
like just comes with the fox. I'm like, oh, the fox is magical, and he's like, I literally shoot fire out of my hands. And David and Trigger are like, they're just fireworks, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
whatever.
not that
With firecrackers, like, that's great.
It's just a
It's one of the
firecracker.
greatest
Okay.
moments. Yeah, yeah,
It was so good.
yeah.
I absolutely loved it. And I really do. I hope to play with you guys again, because that was one of the that is exactly how a TTRPG should go. And it's exactly how all players should feel. This is exactly how the DM should feel, or GM. This is exactly how it should be.
I'm ready. Let's go. I'm studying the Avatar player guide now.
Nice.
That's my boy.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's my
I
I think
boy.
we all backed that, didn't we? Everyone in the world
think
backed
so.
that Kickstarter.
Pretty much.
And
Yeah.
they're at like almost $9 million.
Yeah, their original
Yeah.
goal was what, $50,000, and they
Yeah,
hit 9 million.
Oh my god, really? 9
Yeah.
million?
Yeah,
What are
they
they gonna
hit,
do
they,
with that money?
they broke records with that backer.
Like,
Oh,
if it
yeah.
only cost $50,000, they just pocket 800 and
Well, they still,
Well, 8
because there's
million?
that many backers, they also have to produce that
Yeah.
many.
Yeah.
They have to make all of the
I
stuff.
see.
They can
Oh,
also
wow.
pump it. Yeah, they'll pump that into marketing for when it eventually
Launches.
hits the shelves. Like, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's fair.
I mean, my hope is that it
And they'll make
it
even more
doesn't-
money. Cool.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and like it is, people are going to buy that shit. But I
Yeah.
mean, like people will. But like that's you're talking like it takes 6 months to produce the everything, and
Mhm.
then like another 2 months to get everything put out there. So
Yeah.
you're talking middle of next year before it hits
Yep.
people's homes, and then you'll probably maybe the Christmas after that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The Christmas 2022, you'll see it maybe in game stores in the US.
Okay, I
But
found
it
it.
won't.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
It's so it I think it's it's over. So it fully funded for $9,535,317.
Mhm.
Whoa! What? The
Almost
F?
$10 million.
People really wanted to see that,
Crazy.
huh?
Uh-huh.
Shit.
I'm all about it.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you, Avatar and
It's
The
just
Last
like-
Airbender, Korra, they're great. They're fantastic.
Just
So great.
one really big fan that just happens to be rich and like contributed 8 million. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
it
just
was
like,
M. Night
oh, put
Shyamalan.
8 million on that. I want
Yeah.
that.
I want
it
all
was
of
M.
them.
Night Shyamalan
All
trying to
of
make up for that fucking movie.
Wow.
Yeah,
He
right.
deserves to. Yeah.
Mm.
The
Nice.
movie was terrible.
We don't acknowledge that movie exists.
No.
Yeah, we don't.
I have to
was
acknowledge
a
that movie
fan-made
exists
production.
because I have to argue with people. When I say Avatar, I mean The Last Airbender, damn it.
Yeah, honestly, that's not the first thing that I hear. Like, it's just not the first thing that I
when
hear.
that launched, somebody said, "Oh, have you seen the new Avatar roleplay?" It's like, why the fuck would I want a roleplay game from James Cameron? Why? Why?
And you're like, oh,
fuck Pandora.
But they are
fuck that.
actually making that a video game.
Yeah,
I can't wait for
it.
that. Honestly, I think that looks great.
I'm totally gonna play.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm getting
This is
everybody
another
off track.
conversation. Like,
I'm so sorry.
the
It's
hatred
my-
towards
Right.
James Cameron's
my thing.
Avatar is another conversation.
I'll pull it back in. I want to give a props to Drew because for his
Yeah.
character,
Oh my
because
gosh.
I think the rest of the podcast should just be dedicated to Trinket. But for Eldor, so Drew went all in. You guys don't know this, right? But Drew went all in on this when he prepped for this thing, right?
Aw.
He sent me email. I think he sent me about 5 emails,
No way.
kind of going through all the kind of intricacies of Eldor
Mm.
and what he wanted to do with the character. And then the final email he sent me was a list of 20 spells he made up himself
Mm.
that he wanted to put in the character sheet on the game. These are spells that are not in the game. He homebrewed them himself.
Oh my
Nerd.
gosh.
They're not part of it. He just said, look, are these okay? They're 20 spells that I've created that I researched historically. The ingredients of these spells would be
What?
of the time, so on and so forth.
Oh,
you
so
remember
all of the bits and pieces he
my
needed for the
gosh.
spells.
all that shit that Daewon was finding in her
See, now-
pouches.
Fuck
I thought those were all
Right.
just random. Like you need this, this, and that, and you just made shit up.
No, he had a
incredible.
homebrew
Oh my
list
gosh.
of everything. Like he went full method on this shit. So him turning around saying, I don't role play. I don't do that stuff. It's not me. It's not me. Bullshit.
Yeah,
He-
Yeah,
seriously.
call bullshit.
He prepped his whole off. He sent me emails going, right, what about this? What about this? There's this stuff on the character sheet. And then, like I said, it was the 20 spell. I think it was about 20 spells
Oh my
that
gosh.
did a plethora of things.
Mhm.
And he didn't get to use, he got to use maybe a handful of them, like the one where he ate paper and stuff. That was
Oh
one
my
of his
god, that was
spells
so
he had.
good.
I am so impressed.
Classic.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Now this
Like
is
Drew
the
had-
behind the scenes story we needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean,
Yeah.
Drew had played RPGs before many moons ago. When we had the pitch meeting about it and stuff, he's like, I had played RPGs, but I haven't done it in years. It's like, well, cool. It's like riding a bike. You don't forget.
It's
And
true.
he didn't. Like I said, it was literally I think it was the next day. I got the first email going, I was thinking about doing this, this, and this. And I was like, yeah, man, that's cool. Let's go through it and work it out and look at the character sheets and let's look at the thing. And because that's what we did in session 1. I explained all the character sheets that come with the game that
Mhm.
show you how to do all your stats.
Yeah.
And that's what we were rolling tonight. So when I said, I need your mysticism roll during the game, that's one of the stats on the character sheets. But whenever Drew was like, I want to try this spell, I'm going to do this, I was like, well, you need ingredients. And he had the list of ingredients he needed.
Mm.
Now, I'm not a component GM. There's some GMs out there that, depending on the game you're playing, it might have a particular component that you have to do to cast a spell, right? That's in Dungeons & Dragons, you definitely have that. And you have some DMs that like to do that in Dungeons & Dragons. I generally don't. I'm like, look, you're a wizard, cast a fucking spell.
Mm.
But
Okay.
But Eldor, like Drew, really got into this and wanted to do this. I'm like, dude, go nuts. This is your thing. Go for it. Like, your Eldor is your guy. So do whatever you want. And it led to some really interesting moments with Daewon and Trinket and Eldor as they kind of got their shit together. And like, do you have a dragon's tooth or, a unicorn testicle and stuff? I need all this shit.
Mhm.
Since when did
Is
we
that
get
right?
ourselves together?
Wait, did we play the same game?
Yeah.
Not according to Eldor, where he's just like, how
Poor
on earth
Eldor.
did I get stuck with these idiots?
Yeah.
That made it so much better for his character to be able to like rise above and use all of those spells
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
we didn't have those. And it
No.
it made it so much better. So much
Yeah.
better.
He was class, honestly. I actually really enjoyed Drew and Eldor. And I think like he has often said, like even in the live chat last night, he was like, oh, Onduin and Pagan were doing so much character work and everything like that. He's like, I was just me. And I was like, no, you weren't. You were fucking Eldor. And it was brilliant because like
Mm.
all of the stuff that he says is just not Drew. It's Eldor. And he's he's so good. Like he was just this constant, and I've like keep referring to him like as a steady current throughout the whole thing. He was just like this steady, like magi fucking sorcerer who was just so fed up with all of our shit that had to use us to get to where he needed to go. I thought he was great. I really enjoyed his character. And I just loved how Daewin just picked on him without knowing it. Just like, wow.
And it's nice to
magic. And he's like, wait, what?
And it's nice to know too, because
that.
like his insults were just so on par. It was just like
So good. The
so
burns he
good.
was throwing you in the finale were just
The brain
They were
cells.
such
Beautiful.
zingers, and I was like, I can't even be like mad at that. They're just so good.
that was good.
Drew.
There was some great character moments.
Yeah.
Drew likes to do that. I can still remember when we did the Uncharted playthrough or the multiplayer, and we had to play test that in a similar fashion. And the whole time Drew's sitting there like, I'm not good at this game. I'm not good at this game. Even though him and I were like kind of neck and neck when we were like practicing and trying to test out the load on the service that we were using. And the whole time he's sitting there like, all right, I suck at this. I suck at this. Like, who you trying to fool, Drew?
Don't.
Who you trying to fool?
He's a liar. Fucking Drew. What a jerk.
He's role playing us all at all times.
Yeah, he's role playing all the time.
Do we even know who the real Drew is?
No.
We don't, honestly.
Yeah, it's PJ.
It's-
So PJ is the real Drew.
Nah, it's like Piper in a suit.
Einhorn is Finkel. It's like it's Brad Pitt. it's Brad Pitt and Ed Norton. It's like it's Tyler
Finkel and
Durden
Einhorn.
and Jack. You know, that's the way it works.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Real
love
quick,
that.
Does my audio still sound good? I'm in the car.
You see, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good. So
Okay,
we're talking about
look-
Trinket now? Is that what's next?
Is this what we're doing? Is this how this
It
goes?
Going
has
off of what-
it has to be. It has
what
to be.
Wayne
Like,
suggested.
because yeah, I mean, I think like a pagan is probably not going to bring it up by the looks of her. Look at her; she doesn't want to talk about Trinket.
Oh.
Come on.
What do you want to know?
Yeah, like
What don't we
did-
know about Trinket?
What don't you know about Trinket? She's great. I did actually read though, like on a comment, I think like on one of the first things, and they were like, "Oh my god, they called it after like Critical Role character, her
A bear.
original," and I was like, "I have never seen Critical Role."
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
thank you for assuming, and that
Wow.
they somehow created the name Trinket. Not that I doubt their creative prowess at all. I'm just saying like it's just a name. Like
Mhm.
I actually didn't get it from that at all. I got it from Russell Brand in The Tempest as Trinculo.
Hmm.
And he does a beautiful fucking, you will see how spot on this is if anybody's listening to this. Go look up on YouTube Russell Brand improv The Tempest. And he's in a room with the director and another actor, and the director is like, "So tell me a little bit about Trinculo." So he does. He goes off on this random tangent using these beautiful long words and syntax that is exactly Shakespearean. It's just beautiful. And the context is correct. Everything he's saying is great. And that's what I based it on. It's like a 3-minute video. Like, go watch it. That's exactly Trinket's character. I ripped Russell Brand and put it in this. And Jack Sparrow,
Yeah.
obviously.
I caught on to the Jack Sparrow part.
I was
and
going
that
to say, I definitely got the Jack
beautiful.
Sparrow vibes.
Yeah. And I mean, like, whatever, it's D&D.
But there's always
I mean-
going to be a little bit of that, no matter what. When you're role playing, you're going to take some
Absolutely.
inspiration in some way.
who doesn't do that?
Of course, who doesn't do that?
Who doesn't? I'm playing. I am very lucky to be playing in 2 separate games as a player at the moment with 2 very good DMs. They're the only 2 games that I'm playing as a player amongst the 8 other games that I'm DMing. But these 2 are the characters I'm playing. One is a unique character that I built, but one of them is basically Keanu Reeves from Point Break in D&D. His
Genius.
is actually the town he is from is called Point Break. He is a surfer kind
Nice.
of dude who is
That's
like
incredible.
a bard on the road.
I love
And
it.
it's like, but he like that's where else do you get stuff from? But
Mhm.
take it from that's as a creator, as
Mhm.
if you're creating anything, you need to consume to create.
Mhm.
And Pagan just showed how pretentious she is because she took it from Shakespeare
I did.
and not Critical Role.
I did.
You
I
know?
literally
Yeah.
was like, people were like, "No, fucking Critical Role," and I was like, Shakespeare, like William Shakespeare. Trinculo, just go look. He's like
you mean
he's a
Shakespeare?
Shakespeare. Shakespeare, darling. He's a fucking, he's not a bard, but he's a jester, right? Which might as well be a bard. Yeah. He's a court jester. And that's exactly like my character. And I so wanted to comment on that. Maybe I still will. But anyway, syphilis? If that person ever listens to it, huh?
Did they have syphilis?
No. The syphilis thing was just
if anyone's going to have syphilis, it's going to be Russell Brand.
Yeah.
But, I'm old enough now and long enough in the tooth that if anyone decides to hate on something you're doing, it means you're doing a good fucking job.
Right.
Because for somebody to waste the energy hating on something,
that's fair.
I'd be sitting there going, fuck it, great. Somebody didn't like something I did.
Yeah.
For the 10 other people that loved it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. True.
Like,
fuck
the haters. There's no point wasting your energy on their energy that they're throwing at you because they have more issues than you do.
That's fair.
So,
and I'd love to quickly shout out Pagan too, because during the live stream, there were a couple of people that were like, oh, this is crap. Who wants to listen to this? And just like your comments and the way that like, I would have so angrily responded, but you were just so calm and like, hey,
she's had a lot of
everything
practice.
Is for them. Yeah, it's true. And you're just like, not everything is for everybody. We'd love for you to check back in. And the person was like, I'm so sorry. I was rude. I'll check back in, and some other things. I was like, wow, that was amazing.
So great. This guy,
awesome.
I don't think you were there, Dan, but basically this guy started at the very, very beginning of the episode, the final episode, and was just basically like, no one cares his content. It doesn't work, period. And I was like, that's okay. This content's clear enough for you, but thanks for checking in anyway. And thanks for supporting the channel. Like, take care. And then they changed their mind. By the end of the episode, they were like, I'm going to go back and watch the rest of these. And I'll give it a like anyway. And I was like, thanks.
Great.
I was like, great.
Absolutely
that's what
brilliant.
Like 10 years of customer service would do to you, friends. 10 years of customer service is just taking an insult and being like, thank you so much for your feedback. I appreciate it. It's clear enough for you. There's plenty of other content on the internet. Go enjoy.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, but like, I mean, my character, it was based on a Shakespearean jester, Russell Brand, Jack Sparrow, some fucking great, like Keith Richards, like, come on.
You made it your own. You made that character your own.
For sure. And I think like you have to input a little bit of yourself in there, or like a comedic side of you. And I do like trying to like fill the air with something bouncy and good that makes people laugh and stuff like that. And I think that's maybe just a natural trait that I have. I like to be the class clown. I was always the class clown in school. So I started it as Trinculo from The Tempest and ended up as Trinket by Pagan.
It evolves.
You know what I mean? Yeah. The syphilis thing was just a one-off joke that was hilarious, so we had to continue it. It was just fucking dead funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended up being like your wish at the finale. That's how like integral that became to the story.
So great. And what was so good though was that I rolled a 17 and I had a plus charm, which is 2, and plus persuasion, which is 2. And I don't know about D&D, so I just rolled it. And then he's like, wait, don't you have an addition on this? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I have +2 and +2. So I guess it's 20, whatever it was. And you're like, oh, like, thank goodness, because you would have died. Like, you would have just straight up died. And then we only kind of found that later. And I was like, oh, maybe that should have been what happened. Maybe that would have been like a more epic death. And then I thought, nah, the cure for syphilis thing is too good. It's just...
Oh, the dice
how did that become a
properly.
plot point? Like,
yeah. Like the thing about it is that the way you had played it, there was no way. If I had turned around and went, right, okay, Trinket's dead.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what the chat would have been like if I had done that?
I don't know. It could have been like an epic death because like 1 out of 3 would have died. I thought
people would have cried.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like when
people already thought that Daywin was going to die.
Yeah.
And they were all freaking out. And I'm like, imagine if you killed their favorite. There would have been tears.
I don't think so. But I just think that since the first episode, I was like, I'm going to try and get so close to that 20 dishonor. It's going to be scary. Like I just have to do it. Like I just think it would suit the character. There's no point in trying to act all noble. Like
those are the kind of like those fun decisions too, especially like in a similar sense of like when I play an RPG game that allows you to play good or bad, I generally will try to play bad just to see what will happen.
Yeah.
Because I want to see something
Throw
different.
Some spice in.
You know, exactly. Change it up a bit. And I want to take a minute to also double back on what you were saying about playing the character, and even, you know, Wayne, they're talking about like portraying a Keanu Reeves. That's something that's unique to an experience like this. It's much like acting, doing improv. You embody a character and it evolves and grows in your mind. You might start off of, I'm just going to impersonate John Wayne or something. And then that turns into your own version of that character.
Yeah.
And you have so much fun doing it. You stop even thinking about it.
Yeah, and that's what Nolan said as well. That's what Nolan is preaching about, how to create a unique character, is like start off with a really bad impression and then just go from there. And that's your unique character. And I think that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
I can't even tell you how nervous I was and how much that I was like, I really don't want to do this show. Like, I swear, like when Wayne asked me, I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. But inside I was like, fuck no. Because I don't like improv. I hate improv. And I have always I've tried to be better at improv. I joined an improv group in college and I wasn't that great. And I was like, fuck. I hate improv so much.
Fun.
I see, I just suck at it and I freak out. And I had bad experiences in college where it's just like, you know, jokes don't land. Like they don't get the references. Like I was making Skyrim references and shit and nobody was getting it.
Yeah,
I only make it secondhand.
What shitty college did you go to?
Yeah, I know, right?
Fuck those guys.
They were like a stuffy theater college. Like, what? Ho?
I made an arrow to the knee, basic joke, and nobody got it. And I was like, oh my God. And it's horrible in improv where if you're on this improv team, I don't know if anybody knows this, if your joke doesn't land, the improv section keeps going until a laugh is made, and then there's a whistle, and then, you know, characters change over, people come up, change over. That was my joke. That was the crux of this whole thing. And then I was like, I can't continue with Skyrim references now.
Yeah.
Because nobody got the first fucking reference, so nobody's gonna get the second, so I'm never gonna get a laugh. And eventually I think it actually died. Like the scene fell flat and the whistle was blown anyway, because it was just not going anywhere. And it's fine. That happens in improv, but I just suck at it. So secretly when I said yes, I was like, oh, fuck. But I'm super glad that I did it because I really enjoyed it and it's made me really like improv again. Yeah. And this was so much fun. And I haven't, with the RPG games that we're playing with Wayne, you know, in our Irish group, we never really play in character, not to this extent. Okay. So this was completely new for me and a whole new discomfort zone. So I'm glad it went well. Essentially, I'm just glad it went well.
And it's great.
I think if we went back to that group now, Pagan, I don't know whether you would play it a bit differently.
I think I would. Yeah.
I think when I DM any session, I'm always doing the wacky voices and the kind of the mannerisms and shit. And I learned that over the years. I didn't just all of a sudden, you know, come fully formed as a DM. You have to learn that shit. And the improv stuff comes with time as well. Thinking on your feet, you learn and there's no better place to learn than RPGs because your players can throw you one hell of a curveball.
Yeah.
The shit you have to come up with to sidestep any weirdness that they throw at you. It happened in this. It happened in this game where stuff was thrown at me. Like Daywin did it in the first episode. Talking to the
the bandits on the road.
Oh,
yeah, it was so great.
Yeah.
Bob, can you just you can't read. Okay, Jess, can you make the sign? I was like, that's great. I loved all that. That's so good.
You know, and but it bolsters everyone because you start buzzing off each other. And Reagan, you can speak to this. That's what improv does.
Yeah.
That's the point of it, is that you buzz off the other people doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I think it works that way.
It was good. I think it worked well. I think as a project, everybody worked well. The characters all worked well together. Us as performers, DM and characters, role players. I just thought it worked really well. This was such an off the cuff, maybe this will work. And it did. And I'm like, oh shit, this was great. So good. And, you know, we're getting over 1,000 views on each episode. The first episode has over 130 likes.
For a community-based project, that's great.
I was gonna say, the community has been so supportive of this project and of community-based content, and it's meant so much to me personally, and I'm sure everybody else here, to see everybody in the live chats, to be excited to talk about characters that we've worked hard on, and that like we've improv and we've put our heart on our sleeves, you know, and it was really nice to see a good reception. Sure, there was also a bad reception. Some people just don't enjoy that type of content, and that's okay. You do not have to like everything that's going to be on Couch Soup, okay? I'm just putting this out there right now. If this is his podcast, that is fine. Maybe don't use the dislike button, but if you want to, that's fine. I just think that like there's content for everybody, and if this particular content wasn't for you, then it wasn't for you. But we're so glad that if it was, thanks.
I want to say that if nothing else, it's really sparked my own personal drive to want to do more of this stuff, especially because, like I said, I love improv. You might not know that looking at me, but I think that the dynamic there is because I'm normally so low key that improv gives me the opportunity to push myself and go to that extreme, because I have to sometimes with how kind of subtle the majority of my body language and my way of speaking tends to be. And improv is the way for me to like go beyond that and be animated and be out there and silly and goofy. And that's how I was as a kid. And it's something that's just so much fun for me. So now I'm all like gung ho and excited. Like I really want to dive head first into doing some tabletop RPGing or D&D or something in that vein.
That's awesome.
I did notice that in the comments.
Oh
yeah.
I'm gonna get going. My connection's also getting a little bit choppy.
I was gonna ask if Erica's got to go.
No problem, Erica.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Of
Thank you,
course.
Erica.
Thanks for being okay with me just like calling from my car.
All good. All good. Enjoy your movie.
I will see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. I'm all set.
Sorry, where were we on our topic of conversation?
I had just said that I'd noticed the thing I noticed in the comments.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, I had noticed in the comments, like talking to Dan, saying like, you know, you're kind of wanting to get into it and the improv side of things and the RPG thing. I can't help but notice that even in the chat and on the comments afterwards, like Luis and a few others had said like, I was thinking about RPGs, but now I'm going to get into them and I'm going to start doing them, or I'm about to get into them. And it's that type of shit that's that kind of sitting there as a GM. It's kind of like, yes.
Yeah.
It's like another one is joining the commune. Yeah. It's fantastic to see, because it means that there was enjoyment in what they saw. So therefore they want to do something like that. And it pushes people to do it. And it's brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. I love it.
And I think like similarly, there was loads of people in the comments being like, I don't actually watch these things, but then I watched your episode and I love it. I love your content. So I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I mean, I particularly wouldn't be able to watch a lot of D&D, like stuff like Critical Role, right? I've actually never seen Critical Role. I think I've seen the first 20 minutes of the very first episode on YouTube, right? And I was like, oh, okay, this is what D&D is. I just didn't have the 4 hours or the 3.5 hours per episode to actually dedicate to watching that.
That's the problem with D&D, is it's so
long.
It's incredibly long.
So I was like, okay, well, this is really cool. And I can totally see how there is a massive fan base for this, because it's really interesting. But I personally just don't have the time to watch it. But I loved that people were coming onto our show and you know, commenting and being like, I don't actually watch this content, but then I watched yours. And, you know, they're small enough bite sizes. They're just over an hour and a half or just under an hour and a half. Yeah. And they're like edible chunks. The same of like Stuff of Legends. On Jovan Shire's podcast, the RPG podcast that he did.
Did you check his out yet?
YouTube. Yeah, I loved it.
Because I was shouting it out recently and saying that it's pretty fun and it's worth watching. And he keeps those episodes really short, like 30 minutes or so.
And I just think that's genius. And then like coming in and replaying those scenarios as puppets and stuff like that. It's just,
it's pretty glorious. Like when I first heard about it, I was like, puppets, really? And then once you see it, you're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I questioned it.
I was the exact same, because I was like, what? Because I thought that they were going to be like, I thought it was all going to start with puppets. It's not just that they're recreating the episode, I guess, with puppets.
The whole thing was going to be puppets from the start to finish. Like,
same. Oh, okay. And I was like, this is weird. But where they've moved it to, I love what they did with that. So, you know, big props to that. So it's those kind of things, like short form D&D or short form RPG games. I just think I think there could be a massive place for that on the internet, and I'm sure there is, as well as there is with long form, obviously with Critical Role, right? Because they're doing 4 hours episodes.
Sure.
But I thought that was really cool. I thought people who were into it were really into it. People who didn't think they would be were still into it. And then some people who just weren't into it left a comment, said, I'm not interested in this content, and moved on. I'm like, great. That's no problem. Like, it's so okay to not be into this content. It's fine.
Yeah. Because here's something now leading into what we're about to talk about. I would say this is the first real community-driven project that Retro Replay has supported and helped produce and create, and that it's fairly successful. I think it's been doing pretty well. It was pretty, really fun to watch. And I think that's going to open the door for what is the future of what is now Couch Soup. So anyone who didn't pick it up, I don't know why you wouldn't have, but last week, in the last couple of days, Retro Replay announced that they're kind of rebranding to Couch Soup. Retro Replay as a channel will stay. It'll still be Retro Replay on YouTube, but now they're going to relaunch the website and further content produced as Couch Soup. And I think now with that, there's going to be more and more community-driven content, much like this Green Knight RPG series. So hopefully this is only just the start of all more good things to come.
I actually think, maybe Drew can correct us on this, I actually think the YouTube channel will also change name.
I believe you're right, because I did see they changed the banner on Retro Replay to Couch Soup already.
So
social medias have changed as well. Twitter is now Couch Soup, formerly Retro Replay.
So Retro Replay as a show will stay Retro Replay. Everything else is being rebranded to Couch Soup, so I stand corrected. Thank you. Yeah,
so essentially what is happening is they're ending Retro Replay, quote unquote, as you know it, if you know what I mean. The regular Thursday episodes with Nolan and a guest, or where it was originally Nolan and Troy every Thursday, those are coming to a close. And that's just to do with time. It's like time zones, moving locations, that kind of thing.
And you can watch that last episode to really get all of that.
Yeah, exactly. And we can link all of that in the comments as well. So all of that is transitioning over into Couch Soup. So I guess any form of content now, pretty much going forward, is going to be considered Couch Soup content. So that's including trailer talk. Now we're going to be moving over that as well.
As well as us, the podcast is going to be Couch Soup. We're going to be now a Couch Soup podcast instead. Yeah, exactly. we might have to rebrand, folks. So bear with us. So this is a really interesting time, and I just want to say that there has been a lot of pushback, and they're like, okay, well, this channel isn't what it is, it isn't what it was, and blah 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 about Troy and Nolan. Yes, we know. I don't know why people have put this on the internet, whatever, it's the internet being the internet, but this is going to turn into a pagan tangent,
pagan rant. I just think I get so defensive about Retro Replay and the crew for obvious reasons, but I just feel like when people put it on the internet as if Retro Replay don't know is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. I'm sorry. Basically go fuck yourselves. They're just like, oh, this show isn't what it used to be with Troy and Nolan. No fucking shit, folks.
Because it's not what it used to be.
No, it isn't. And it isn't it really wasn't their choice, I guess, to go in this direction. But ultimately, to turn this over to a community, to give community members like us, like Wayne, like me, like you, like everybody listening to this podcast right now, a chance to pitch, to work with Emmy nominated and Emmy award winning producers, and have access to that level of knowledge, content creation, possibly even advice from Stephanie and Paul, who are industry professionals, and then a platform with over 200,000 subs currently, right? To give you that opportunity and for you to just be like, no, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't the content that I want. That's okay. That's no problem.
You can have the same responses you had to that person.
Show yourself out. I'm just kind of that's okay. You don't have to like this content. Take care. You can love the content that it was. You can go back and rewatch all of the old episodes. Cool. Good news for you. But for those who want to stick around and have actually a chance to produce and make their own content and get this level of advice and experience behind them and support, we're looking forward to working with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I know I've said this already, but I've been doing this for a long time. In Ireland, I worked locally with a lot of conventions. I've produced content locally and on the internet for over a decade. Doing it with my friends, my colleagues, and myself. I produce podcasts, RPGs, celebrity interviews, and I've I'm also co-founded and running a comic book label in Ireland. When Drew and PJ said that they were doing this, it blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Because just like Pagan just said, they are literally offering people a platform.
Yeah.
And that does not happen on the internet, in Hollywood, anywhere, just for people in the know-how, with the knowledge that they have, with the abilities that they have, to come and say, come on, we're going to do stuff and you're going to do it with us. We're going to boost you up and show you off to everyone. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. The audience that we hit with the Green Knight was impressive.
Yeah.
I've seen audiences fluctuate over the years and everything I've done. And when the numbers are coming in for the Green Knight RPG, I was like, wow, that's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'm reaching an audience with this that I wouldn't have reached with my usual shit because I don't have this platform that these guys have built. Like, and it's not so much that you're riding coattails. They're willing to show you how to do this.
Right.
They are going to advise you. They're going to, like, it's not like you're just all of a sudden deciding, you know what, I'm going to start a Twitch channel with my 12 followers.
Yeah.
Like Pagan said, you've got 265,000 subscribers
at the
on
moment.
YouTube.
Yeah.
So potentially you have that amount of people looking at your stuff.
Oh, yeah.
How is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
I don't see any negativity here. I don't understand it. The only time I see negativity is when people are feeling bitter about something that happened 2 years ago now.
And I think like on your point about Twitch, there was somebody in the chat and being like, okay, well, that's what Twitch is for, as if to be like content creators, go and like put yourself on a platform and make content. And I had this big thing typed out and I was gonna like rage full at them. And then I was like, you know what? Forget it. Because this person's just never going to get it.
That's what a troll is. They're only there to sap you of your energy and your creativity.
Yeah. They're just like, oh, well, that's what Twitch is for. I mean, correct. You're right.
Twitch if that's their mindset, they're stuck. They're limited to that tiny little perspective that they have.
Exactly. And they're never going to change. So it's like, okay, well, then take care. But it's just, they were saying that like Twitch is there for you to grow your content or to like to make content, but on the internet. That's fine if you want to do live streams. Firstly, not everybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
And secondly, Twitch is extremely overpopulated. Overpopulated. The same way YouTube is.
The hate raids too. Like the hate raids on Twitch is getting out of control. Like
exactly. And you know what? Look, Twitch are working on that, and I know there's a lot of people against and whatever about Twitch, but like I do actually genuinely think they are working on something for that. They just can't say what that is. But like my point here is that Twitch is a great platform if you want to build your community, but it could take years. Whereas Retro Replay are offering you the opportunity within months to pitch a content idea, run your content through, like make it, send them the example, see how they can improve that for you with industry advice. So PJ, Drew, Stephanie, Paul will all take a listen or a watch or whatever it is. And then you can launch it on their platform with 200,000 subscribers. If 4,000 people watch your video and 2,000 people like it and they're on there, that's like instant quote unquote success for you as a content creator. Because if you'd done the same thing on Twitch or on your own YouTube, you might have had 40 views and 6 likes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's
I can speak from experience from dealing with Drew and with Pagan and with Stephanie. There is zero ego involved.
Yeah.
Zero.
Oh yeah.
There is no ego involved. These are professional people. This is their job.
I've gotten advice from all of them as well when it comes to how we would do the podcast, how I edit it, how I do the audio. I've gotten advice and help from all of them. Just here, we'll help you out. And it's like you said,
like I mean,
zero
the characteristics that you see for the fun of it on what streams they do, where PJ is ripping into Drew, and that's banter. That's friends being friends with each other and having fun. When it comes to professional side of things, having personally dealt with that, zero ego. And that is extremely rare in this industry, entertainment, be it producers, and it's unheard of.
I want to,
and you know,
sorry, go ahead, Wayne.
It's just fucking nuts. I just don't see a downside to this. If you have something that you want to put out there as a creator, like most people that are wanting to get into it, like, look at everyone that's trying to get onto Twitch. Look at everyone that's trying to create a YouTube channel.
It's insanely flooded.
Yeah.
Right? Unbelievably saturated.
Yeah.
But this is a pre-built platform.
Yes.
And they're willing to give it to you.
Yeah.
And say, let's do this
together. I wanted to say this goes back to when they were launching the website initially too. And, this goes back to, we've done podcasts about this. And when like I kind of helped with the establishing, we got, Brandy and Stephanie curating, the planning, and we were bringing in people in the community. And Drew reached out that tweet that from, January of 2020, I think, looking for creators, looking for writers, looking for any content creators whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it started there, and they started bringing in people like, okay, who's got ideas? Who do we want to try and work with? And since then, the website's been an ongoing thing where people are, coming up with ideas. They're getting the freedom to write the things that they're passionate about. And Drew loves that. Drew's all about passion and writing about stuff that you care about.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's evolving from just writing to full on shows, podcasts, programming, anything and everything it could possibly be, now that they're rebranding and relaunching the site in this way.
Yeah. Like we have an incredibly talented community. Like we have met so many people here on the Replayer podcast that are wonderful artists, singers, songwriters, content creators of their own right on YouTube and on Twitch. And like to give that opportunity, like, I don't want to like use this stupid quote of like back to the people, but you know what I mean? Like all of these people have invested their time and or money into the show. And now Retro Replay is like, yeah, let me pay it forward. Come on, like whatever you got, pitch it.
Right.
Let's all be clear here. You can pitch a show and they will turn it down if it's shit. Let's all just be really fucking upfront here, because they're not going to
PJ. If you pitch a show and it's shit, we're not going to say, we're going to say no, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, they're not going to just put anything on their channel. Of course, they're going to help curate content, like authentic and unfiltered pop culture, right? That is what CouchTube is going to be about. And I feel like, that just means that there's going to be quality content on the show. And that if something doesn't work, then it just doesn't work. You're going to get industry feedback, and you're going to get like stuff to work on and then move on with that, or maybe create a different idea, but keep that idea in mind and do something else. Like this is just a great opportunity for everybody. And yes, of course, it's not Retro Replay content. Like it's not the same Thursday episodes. No one is saying it is. It is completely transitioning and evolving from that. And that's okay.
Oh, of course.
I'm going to pitch a show called Replay Retro, which is a completely different
Replay
thing.
Retro is, it's a good one.
It's very different. Very different.
How about
it's
a show?
Maybe Travis Willingham and Matt Mercer on the couch, and they're going to play.
Pretty much.
How about everything old is new
they
again?
actually have that show on Critical Role. They have
Amazing.
Travis Willingham, and they used to have Brian W. Foster sitting on a couch playing video games. It was Travis Williams. I think it was Yeehaw Game Ranch or something. What it was called. And it was fun, but it was similar.
Great.
But there's a million and one of those shows out there.
Yeah, of course there is. Game Grumps.
The thing about this is that if you have something that's different and interesting, be it a podcast or a book or a webcomic or anything, a fucking a video series that you want to produce, short, like even in short bites.
Yeah.
Like something that's like a 15-minute blurb with the latest, X-Men comic that's come out, like X-Men review comics or something like that. Like
you can pitch it.
Fucking put it together in a pitch deck and send it, and see what happens. The thing about it is, and I think they said it. I can't remember. And this is not verbatim, but when they were talking about it in the live chat and the announcement yesterday, they worked with Nolan North, they worked with Troy Baker, and they want to use the community. And it's going to be a point where, these people go, well, these aren't famous people. No, they're not now.
No.
Oh yeah.
But what if you create a show that gets like 5,000 views every week?
Right.
Neither
was Jacksepticeye. You know what I mean? Like no one knew who Sean McLaughlin was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when he started his YouTube channel, I presume it's 8 years ago. Don't come at me, Jacksepticeye fans. But you know what I mean? Same with like Alana Pierce. Alana Pierce started writing way back in the day for like a whole bunch of articles, and then I started making content on YouTube, I think almost 10 years ago. Again, don't come at me, Pierce fans.
She was an IGN editor and writer for the longest time before she ever went to doing IGN and
before that, like she was working for a whole bunch of like places in Australia, and then came over and she was working on for a whole bunch of stuff in LA before she even went to IGN.
She started as a GameStop employee back in Sydney. Was it she's from?
The Brisbane.
Okay.
Don't quote me.
Australia.
Don't quote me. Australia. But so was Valkyrie, right? Valkyrie started as a GameStop employee and started posting stuff on Instagram, and then started streaming on Twitch, and is now this massive thing. Same with Pokemon. None of these people were famous. Like none of these people started famous. Of course they didn't.
Nobody starts
famous. Content. Yeah. So can you imagine if Wayne started pitching content right now and started making content 6 years down the line, Wayne could be Jacksepticeye level famous. You don't know. But this is a great opportunity.
I'm old. I'll probably be dead. I won't make it that far.
I hope not. I hope not.
No, I mean, like I said, I have been doing this for a long time here. What I mean, there's been and I've reached certain places, but a big comic just broke in Belgium. Like it's it's that type of thing, But it's who cares if you make your content, see what happens.
Yeah. I honestly don't care so much about being famous as just having fun making the content that I want to make. And if Retro Replay Couch Soup gives me that opportunity, I'm not gonna say no.
I think the most valuable piece of it, people can use it as that because, like you said, it's a platform that's got 260,000 subscribers, right? You're not going to put out content on Retro Replay for not to reach that number. Otherwise, you could have just put that up on your YouTube channel, right? Like you could put that up on your own YouTube channel and have 40 views and have fun making content. But what I'm saying is, I think the most valuable thing here is their advice, their experience.
Oh, absolutely.
Their level-headedness 100%. About your content, your pitch, how to pitch ideas. You could take that to any Hollywood studio. If you've got a script and then you could learn how to pitch an idea to a studio, production studio, pitch it to Redboy first, obviously. Right. But then go out and pitch it to other places and Netflix and Amazon and Prime, whatever. This is such a great wealth of knowledge that they're just offering on tap for anybody. I'm so I'm so passionate about this, and I'm so enraged by people who are just crawling out of the woodwork to shit on a channel they haven't watched in over a year because they're it's not nothing Troy Baker.
I've seen enough comments of people responding to the fact that Retro Replay is ending, and they're I haven't watched the show since Troy left, but this is sad that the channel's ending. But you haven't watched it since Troy left.
I know.
I
know. I get a little unfiltered here. I can get really angry at these people because I'm just stop. Stop wasting your energy spreading negativity on a channel you have literally not supported in over a year, possibly more. Especially people who are I'm not paying for this content. No, you haven't paid for 2 years. You've stopped supporting the show, which is very clear. And that is fine. That is okay. But why are you bringing this up now, 2 years later? You don't support the channel. That's okay. That's cool. There's the door. Team America, hey, there's the door. Thank you. And then just walk away. I get really fucking defensive. I was so close to losing my shit in that chat.
Well, I think we're just about out of time then, P.
Okay. Sorry.
I know you've got a lot of salt. Lots of salt.
Megan's feed just gets cut. It's just
yeah, do that. That's fucking funny. Do that shit. While I'm mid rant, just be rant continues for 45 minutes or something. Just cut that out.
I'll just put in some random bleeps and things in there.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. That one episode where Trevor's just just on a random tangent and they just bleeped everything out. Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Positively, I would like to end on a positive note, and I'm very happy about Couch Soup and where it's going. And I'm so excited to see what creators will be coming up with from our community because we have some really talented people here. Yeah,
we haven't announced it yet, but it's literally going to be the Green Knight universe. It's just going to be that multiple offshoots of different shows. That's all it's going to be. That's all Couch Soup is going to be.
That's all Couch Soup is, actually. That's all it is. It should be called the Green Knight Couch Soup, but it was too long, so we just shortened it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Just the Green Knight channel. Anyways,
welcome to the Green Knight channel.
You got your voice filter?
Yeah, where's the voice filter? Dang it.
Yeah. Welcome to the Green Knight channel.
All right, folks. I think it's about time we end this shit
Wrap
show.
It up. Sorry. It posts nah, fuck it. I'm not sorry. I'm just passionate. Okay. I'm just fucking passionate.
Anywho, this is your time, which now we just have Wayne left here, but everybody's talked about their projects. Erica got a chance to mention her podcast, The Let Us In. So I'll promote that for her again. Go check that out on any podcast streaming services. The Let Us In, like the vegetable.
And Ondawin's Twitter is at Ondawin.
Yes.
Or Ondawin Gaming. If you search that as well, we can leave all of those links for you in the comments.
Yes. And I know, Wayne, you've also mentioned some of your stuff, but go ahead and tell us again.
Yes, I am the DM for the Irish Pubcast Plays Dungeons and Dragons. You may find us on YouTube and on the Twitter and Facebook. I'm also one of the kind of people at Rogue Comics, roguecomics.ireland.com, where you can find all of our comic books, artwork, so on and so forth. You can find me on Twitter at Wayne Talbot. That's it. Full, all one word.
Mhm.
Where you can see all my shenanigans up there as well.
Mhm.
And you can also check out the Green Knight RPG on Retro Replay / Couch Soup.
Perfect.
Way of doing that.
Nice. Links below.
All of the links. Pagan.
All the links. At Pagan Plays on Twitter, at Pagan_plays on Instagram and Twitch.
Perfect. And of course, I am Stark Evil Vash, Dan Morris. You can find me on any platform as Stark Evil Vash. I'm on Twitter at Stark Evash. We usually say the whole thing about Retro Replay memberships, which I think still holds for now. I know they were encouraging everyone to maintain. If you have a membership, hang on to it for right now. They're going to transition some stuff. So if you have questions, you can email members@retroreplayshow.com.
Just quickly on that, any membership benefits that haven't been fulfilled, we're still working on those, so just bear with us. But if there is something that you are concerned about that you haven't had, or you haven't had anything fulfilled, for example, if you've been a member for like 16 or 17 months and you still haven't had the pin, we've definitely sent you one, so it could be lost in the post. So if you could just send an email to members@retroreplayshow.com with any membership perks that you have that you're concerned about right now, please do so. We'll get back to you in a couple of days, and absolutely we will sort that out for you.
Perfect. And you can also find me on Deadpan Network or Deadpan Gaming on YouTube. That's where we're also making some fun, interesting content all the time, working on new stuff all the time. And I write for the Retro Replay Shows / Couch Soup website. So that's where you can also find my content. And I'm definitely looking to playing some RPGs in the near future.
Nice.
This, folks, has been the Couch Super podcast. The Super podcast.
How about Couch Crouton?
Couch Croutons.
That is genius.
The Croutons.
That's genius. I actually do think the Couch Soup Facebook page have the community has started calling themselves Spuddies.
Yeah.
Because they're couch potatoes.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I know PJ said something about Spuddies or potatoes.
And Maria as well. So Spuddy seems to be the way we're going.
And with that, thank you all our visual listeners, and game over.
Bye. Our visual listeners.
I was like, I want to throw that in there somewhere. I want to throw that in because I think it's funny.
That was the stupidest thing I've ever said. That's definitely like a what's going to happen thing on.
Yeah. Thank you to all our visual listeners.
Thanks to all of our visual listeners over on YouTube.